Hello everybody, welcome back to another review, and today we're going to be reviewing Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake. So this film is pretty interesting to me, with how instead of just going for a straightforward remake of the first film, it puts the first four films, blends them up, and makes a modern telling of that, basically. And I think it's where it deviates the reason why it's a good film. If it stayed to the original and tried to be a straightforward remake, then it probably would have flopped and I would be hating it right now. I'd making it sound as bad as I did the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, because that movie is terrible and it just tries so much to replicate the original and it adds one new thing, two new things, and one thing is a terrible thing they added and the other thing is a decent kind of idea they added. But I need to make a video one day, finally, I think later on, if I ever come back to the Elm Street films, I want to talk about that film, because that movie, just from Nancy's actor to the whole stuff about Freddy being more than a killer, it tried something new and it flopped when it came to that. Only good part of that movie is the micro napping and the halfway dream type stuff. But this is a Friday the 13th film, and Jason deserves time to be talked about him. I don't know why I went on a little bit of a tirade about A Nightmare on Elm Street, but back to this movie. So, Marcus Nispel was the director, who also directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that came out in 2003. And the cinematographer was Daniel C. Pearl, I think. And he's actually the same cinematographer of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one from '74, which is a classic, an all-around, cult, not a cult classic, a masterpiece in the horror film in the genre. It's one of the biggest influences to all these. I remember when I watched it the first time. It had a big impact on me. I love part 2, but the rest of the movies, I'm gonna get around to cover those eventually. It would be interesting to cover those movies next month. I might. So, yeah. Well, so being set up, the cinematography in this film, I think the director does a good job. There's stuff behind the scenes where this girl didn't want to get nude, so they had to fire her. The executives made him fire her because, which just made the whole shoot. They wasted a whole big bunch of filming because they had to put a new person in her place for her character. This and then that poor, the girl should never been put in that situation by the executives. And I feel bad for the director. I feel bad for Marcus in that one. And that's enough behind the scenes stuff. I know I've been a little negative about stuff like that. Of course, nudity is a big part of these films. It's a big reason we come to Friday the 13th film. But also, it shouldn't be the reason you fire somebody if they don't feel comfortable doing it. And the director's and force the director to come back to this girl after he told her, I might be able to work something out where you don't have to do that. That's just sad. It's pretty sad to me. Anyways, Derek Mears, I believe, plays Jason. He's huge. He's a very big, intimidating Jason. I'd say he's one of the most intimidating ones to go by. And it is so good getting that more resourceful Jason back. He's more resourceful than he was in some of the early films, honestly, because he's more of a hunter in this film. There's scenes where he'll set up traps, and we even get a new sleeping bag kill, which I'll talk about. And I think that Derek does a good job playing a more awakened, like I said, version of Jason, because we just got the more slow and lumbering Jason from Freddy vs. Jason last film. So it's good to see him fast-paced, fast-moving, and there's a couple of kills that are pretty brutal. This one girl, she's in her sleeping bag, and he ties her up to a tree over the fire, and she roasts. And that's kind of a callback to the sleeping bag kill, but different take on it. And the whole interesting idea of this one is that Jason kidnaps this woman, Whitney, because she looks like Pamela, his mother. They share a resemblance, so he kind of thinks in his mind it's her. So he kidnaps her and keeps her in his in the underground tunnels in their Camp Crystal Lake, which tries to explain how he's able to get around so fast, which is a neat concept. We also get Sam from Supernatural here, Jared Padalecki, and he does a good job. He's Whitney's brother. That kind of brings in the whole Rob and who was the girl from the first film, or the second film, Sandra. If you remember in the final chapter, this guy, Rob, was looking for his sister who went missing. I think it's supposed to be the weekend before because 2, 3, and 4 in the franchise take place over the same weekend. So, I mean, it's kind of a cool callback. Like I said, it kind of bunched all this stuff together. And we get Pamela's death in the first 3 minutes of the film. So it's like, it does blend these all pretty well together. Saghead Jason appears, and Jason finally gets his iconic hockey mask. And at the end of this film, I will say the jump scare they try to do with Jason, where he jumps through the dock and tries to pull Whitney under, is just kind of pointless. It just feels like I said, that's the one part I don't like. It kind of calls back to the original too much, but as much as I do need to confess something, I used to hate this film when I was younger. I kind of fell into the hate wagon of this film because all remakes suck. But no. The more I watched this film, the more, I think it was around 2019 I started to change my tune on this film. I started watching it more and I thought about it like, this is a really good return to form for the franchise. It's not a bad movie. It's got what you want in a Friday the 13th film. Jason's pretty good in it. I don't think it's Kane Hodder Jason. I don't think he is. But he plays a pretty dang well good Jason. And, you know, made the character intimidating again. The final girl was alright. I thought Whitney was okay. Even Jenna, the character who's like set up as the final girl, Clay is good, I think. And there's some good effects. And overall, it is probably one of the better horror remakes. I would say it's maybe not. It's not as good as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, but I feel like it's grown on people as the years that went by. I feel like this film is also like, compared to movies, other remakes, this one really does hold up well. And that's why when I rank these next episode, when I rank these movies, I don't know how I'm going to do it because I have a lot of controversial opinions on these films. And this movie's not going to be dead last. Actually, I'll tell you which ones will be dead last then. And you might not like it because I have a film that a lot of people like dead last. Actually, it's top 3 dead last, but there's only one film I really dislike in this franchise, and that's Jason Goes to Hell, but everything else I like. So, when I say, for example, A New Beginnings, number 11, that doesn't mean I don't like it. I actually like A New Beginning, but I like Takes Manhattan a lot more. I like New Blood, I like all those a lot more. So, until the next episode, I love you guys. Christ loves you. Stay blessed. I'll see you then.